Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this Season 2 Arc 3 discussion for Arcane, where me and Kyle Entertainment are going to talk about the final stuff in all of Arcane ever. The story is done forever. Kyle Entertainment, say something.
EliteAri, I'm mad.
What are you mad about?
Because Jinx is fucking dead.
Is that so? Okay.
That was a funny little... Did you see what I did there, EliteAri? That was genius.
No, I don't know what the genius thing is.
Because I didn't scream, fucking dead!
Oh, okay,
I
very
just said,
funny.
fuck. So that was very funny. But I have two other intros, EliteAri, so introduce me again.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle Entertainment.
EliteAri! Jason Victor are fucking gay!
Oh, that's a good
another
one.
subversive one, EliteAri, because they're
Alright.
gay and they're lovers forever. And EliteAri got a third one, but this one's a little bit more bland.
Alright, go ahead, Kyle Entertainment, say something.
EliteAri! Heimerdinger is fucking dead!
True. Oh my god. And what a death it was.
God, it was hard to choose one, EliteAri. Chat, everybody, but you know.
Yeah.
There's just so many. We've just iterated on ourselves into oblivion here.
Yeah.
But maybe that'll be the end of the fucking deads until somebody else dies in Chainsaw Man or something.
Yep.
Oh. Anyway, EliteAri, what were your overall thoughts today on this here Arcane?
Oh,
is that
wow,
what we want to talk about? This is our last ever Arcane thing. Oh my god, isn't your heart just pounding? It's the last one ever. Oh, there was another one where I was like, I could say Arcane is fucking dead, but that one wasn't as funny, EliteAri.
Yep. Okay. Now, I can't believe you asked me the question. Do I go first then? Do I tell you what I thought? Usually I ask you.
No, don't you usually say what you thought first?
No, usually I'm like, kind of, what did you think about these episodes?
EliteAri, hold my hand. Okay, hold my hand.
All right, go ahead.
Sound effect.
Yes.
Arcane's over, EliteAri. Forever.
Okay.
Are you supposed to be sad or something?
Oh, no,
It's
I
a
don't
big
care.
moment.
Okay, yeah, okay, sad,
Me
go ahead.
neither.
Yep. No, but what did you think?
It's very climactic, EliteAri.
Oh my god.
So I'm going first.
Yeah, please, tell us.
I don't know, it was more arcane. It was a very arcane-y conclusion. Both the good and the bad, the here and the theirs. Kind of nobody died. Apparently Jinx didn't die. The internet told me afterwards. That was crazy.
I also heard that.
And
then,
but you didn't know in the moment, right?
No, I finished the whole show and I'm like, oh, she's dead. Okay. And then I looked it up online and everyone's like, oh, she's alive.
Minty said, oh, it seems like they were hinting at Jinx being alive. And I was like, whatever. And then I saw my favorite YouTube Shorts guy today. And he said, if you watch when the explosion happens, there's a little purple streak that goes to the side because that's like her fast shimmer power. And then she would go into the vents. And then later in the episode, Caitlyn is looking at the vents and she smirks a little bit because she realizes Jinx is alive.
That's exactly what I heard too. So crazy.
But Jinx was going to kill herself, EliteAri. That was the whole point of the last episode. It was crazy. There was this great song that I was just listening to refamiliarize myself with at the end about the wasteland or something. It was pretty epic.
Okay.
But also, nobody fucking died.
I mean, that's probably true. I mean, Ambessa died, definitely.
Oh, we didn't see that one coming, EliteAri.
Who else was there, I wonder? Heimerdinger might, but he kind of disappeared, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but everybody's like, oh, he got zapped because he does do like a farewell thing before he does that, but that could also be because he just wants to stay in his favorite little alternative universe that he was in. Yeah. But he did just disappear. He didn't stay there, and then Jinx comes in and sees the thingy, and then, you know, whatever. But then also, what was the other one? Oh, and then Jason Victor are kind of like, did they die?
No, they
were they just with other, and you know,
yeah, they could be there. Yeah, they're inside the whatever the hex tagging is, so who knows? They're somewhere.
They're just going to be partners forever.
I mean,
they are fucking gay.
The actual deaths were like the side characters, like the girl and the big guy who looks like Vander,
Lewis guy just got shot. Yeah, that was funny. It was
it was pretty crazy.
He's going to have a cool moment. They're setting him up. He's going to shoot. But then they gave it to this piano dude who I'm not sure if I'm supposed to know. But then he fired it off.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's like a dude who's playing piano and then there's another dude with a family right before he goes to war. And I think we followed both these characters. There was also that fish guy. He was running through things, and then he did the gas, but then he didn't die, maybe? I don't remember.
There was the cool little girl with the blue dyed hair that was like a Jinx fan. That was pretty sick. She died.
She was. And Vi thought it was actually Jinx for a second. That was crazy. And then also, that girl she wasn't Caitlyn's girlfriend, so we don't have to feel bad that she kind of cheated on her with
what a crazy plot twist, Kyle. I didn't see it coming. It was pretty crazy.
It was like, oh, so that's how they're gonna get around it. Okay, sure.
Yep, it was pretty awesome. Okay, So I guess you generally think this is just more of the same. Nothing, not notably
Yeah, you know,
worse, not
every
notably
good
better.
moment had some bad dialogue with it, or every
Yeah.
bad moment had some probably just nothing good with it. But you know, that's Arcane.
Okay. I guess.
I wonder what EliteAri's favorite scene was that we're gonna shit on is this week. It's going to be exciting to find out.
Yeah, it is exciting. I guess. But the first thing I want to say beforehand is like the first thing I thought of as soon as I finished this show, which is that
It
I
was a
am.
big step up from last time.
No, I am. I like no matter what I actually think about this ending stretch. I absolutely respect that they didn't do something very simple. They did a lot of stuff. It was incredibly dense, and there's a lot of room for like ambiguity and like trying to interpret things and complexity and stuff. And I was like, this doesn't feel like I feel like the ending of Arcane season 1 was like incredibly simple. And like season 1 is a very straightforward kind of story, I think. This is like it's much more ambiguous, I think, and more dense and everything, which I think is just a very interesting thing for a show that like is so popular and so mainstream as well. I just like predicting the like the response to this. I think like a lot of people are not going to like this. I assume just because it is so. It's not even open ended. It's just like so dense at the end. Toward the end, so much happens. But yeah, that's the first thing.
Well, I feel like that's like the first 2 episodes. I don't know if the last one is.
No, it's what the like. I mean, this last arc. I mean, like overall, just like everything that's happening here.
Yeah. It's kind of episode 8.
Which one?
Maybe?
What's the
I
one with
don't even
episode?
know.
I think this whole last stretch. I guess the first one's probably the simplest to interpret.
The first one's the alternative reality one. I saw
Yeah.
a funny Heath tweet that you haven't seen yet, EliteAri, where he said he accidentally skipped episode
no, I
7
saw
but
it.
didn't realize it until halfway through. Yeah, he was shitting on that episode, EliteAri. Could you believe it?
Yeah, I responded to
And then
him.
episode 9 was a big battle. Yeah. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I told him that like you could skip season 1 as well because that's not really necessary. Like you can understand season 2 without season 1. I'm pretty sure. It'd be like pretty
He was
similar.
just doing the thing. People say that sometimes, EliteAri, where they're just like, well, actually, things happening matters.
Very true.
Wow.
Anyway, my actual thoughts about this. There was some of the storylines I liked a lot. Some of it was like I don't really know how. I don't know how if this is like a satisfactory ending or like I didn't really feel any strong emotions or anything. But there was some really interesting stuff. I guess of all the storylines, obviously, I think it's pretty clear if you kind of know what I've liked so far.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear which one you liked the best.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Vi and Jinx stuff at the end is very boring.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh no, EliteAri, I figured it out. You're gonna say that you like the powder stuff in episode 7 because you like powder the most. I'm a genius. Don't worry. I'm still here.
Yep. So actually, completely, when I said that, I'm like, that actually, what I just said makes absolutely no sense because the best storyline is obviously Jason Victor. I just love that so much. It's the image I chose for my Twitter thing.
Bad,
it's like that's easily like compared to all the other. The weakest is almost certainly the Caitlyn and Vi thing. I just don't find that interesting at all still. But yeah, the best one.
You never liked that.
Yeah, Jason Victor was awesome. There was a lot of interesting stuff with that.
Well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the ending saves it because I feel like Victor is just like, oh, the singularity bad guy, Lamau. But then the ending saves it because, like, oh, he realized he was wrong and then he went back in the past. He was the guy in the past. I predicted that in Act 1, EliteAri. I'm a genius.
True. But you know what you didn't predict?
Actually, so I think him being happy in the end fixes it. So
yeah.
Wait, what? Are you not talking
about?
No,
we're not talking about it yet. We're gonna get distracted. I want to say more about this. Just to defend Victor, I think Victor overall, like obviously I like Powder the most. I've said this every single time. You know, Powder, Jinx, they're great. Victor is definitely a second, could be elevated to a first. I don't know, because there's a lot of stuff in season 1 of him feeling very kind of lonely and not like kind of wanting to kind of fix himself and fix the people around him, which is kind of what he wants to do here with the evolution stuff. I think there's something interesting you could piece together about Victor, and I have like a few notes on it, but I think Victor's really interesting, and I do think consistently throughout the whole show he is interesting, and I don't think he is as boring as like the way he kind of seems in these last few episodes, where it's like, oh, I care about evolution, glorious evolution, which seems like some League of Legends thing, but I think there is more to him than it seems immediately when you're watching this, but anyway.
Oh, I was also right because he wasn't dead because his League outfit hadn't happened yet, but then it did happen, EliteAri.
That is very true. I was very wrong about that. Yeah.
I didn't know what his League outfit looked like at all, EliteAri, until right before we recorded that discussion last week. So, you know, shout out to my YouTube Shorts guy.
We love
that. And then I thought he was just a dude, you know, looked like Victor. But anyway, I don't know. Oh, he's just this singularity dude. It's not even the ultimate evolution ones. Though that was, that's something bad guys say. That's like probably what Doctor Doom says or something.
Probably.
But it's also the everybody's gonna become one thing. Neon Genesis Evangelion, Naruto, all this nonsense, all this terrible, terrible stuff that I hate. Arcane's just copying them.
Yeah.
And then they had
He's doing it in an
then
interesting way, I have to say. I think, like, visually, I like the visuals of this, undeniably. The visuals of, like, the hex tech and inside of it and the way that Victor is portrayed, like, with his, like, weird ethereal form, I like it. I like the robotic, like, people and the sound effects they have, and, like, all of this, I think, is really cool. Yeah.
The white guys the white hair stuff, I don't know if I like that one that much. But the other one where he's black and stuff, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He said goodbye to his wife at some point. Did you cry?
That's one of the highlight scenes, actually, because of what they say. It's not a goodbye, and it's not even emotional, which is what's so good about it.
What did they say? I don't even remember.
Oh, are we just going to talk about Victor? Should I just get my Victor notes up? We might as well.
Well, what else are we going to talk about?
I mean, there's a lot, but... So we can... Okay, basically, with Victor, I think the very clear thing he wants is that he wants to make life better and basically everlasting, and he wants to, like, cure this human condition that he always talks about, how there's, like, good and bad, and emotions are bad, and reason is clashing with emotions, and there's war and death, and blah, 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 and he basically just wants to fix everything and make it all better, and everyone's so happy, and not really necessarily happy, he wants to get over happiness, but he wants to lead to peace, right? Do you agree with this? Is this firstly, do you agree with
it? Yeah, sounds about right, But EliteAri, don't you know that the imperfections are actually what make... Shut up, Jace, you fucking idiot. God, he's the worst.
Yeah, so as long as we can agree on this, do you agree that Victor, do you think he was always like this? Yeah. Like we've seen seasons, we've seen a scene of him, I guess, or 2 scenes of him when he was younger, in the Undercity with, like, Sky and stuff.
He was in a pond one time.
True.
Well, like, that's all I remember about any of that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to piece together stuff here as well. Basically what I think is that he lived quite a poor life, crippled, lonely a lot of the time, surrounded by people that were kind of happier than him. I just think he doesn't want to be lonely, right? I think this is like the Evangelion thing, but I don't quite remember the Evangelion thing. So he kind of wants to bring everyone together and make them all one so that he's never alone. But that's not enough. That he finds out that that's, like, not really, it doesn't really do it for him. And, like, the only thing that he really cared about at the end was, like, someone who truly saw him, like Jace or something like that. I think that's, like, my kind of general take on Victor. I don't know if that makes any sense. And also, like, there's a lot of stuff I'd want to rewatch to kind of understand it well. But I think loneliness is, like, a very key aspect of Victor.
Yeah, I don't remember any loneliness stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd have to see what I think if I rewatch it. But
the conclusion, I don't know if I agreed with. You said, because, hold on, I don't think I've thought about why Victor would want to pal around with Jace forever. The scene ends with, like, oh, it's like Jace's perspective. Like, he's like, oh, I just wanted my partner back. And then they hold hands and kiss or whatever. But Victor, he found out in the end after he won that he didn't like it so much. So I guess that makes sense. And then he went back in time and stuff. And what he really wanted was to hang out with his best bro.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
You know what? That does make sense. Maybe the loneliness thing is like a supplemental.
Wait, isn't that what you said?
No, I was focusing more on the loneliness thing. But now, the more I think about it, because I was thinking about how, like, why does he like Jace so much? And I was thinking that the thing was that Jace is someone who, like, sees him as himself and likes the elements of him that make him who he is. But then there's also Sky here, right? And the big thing I liked about Sky, which I don't have the whole interpretation full out yet, but the last words are like, Victor says the cliche thing of, like, I will miss our talks. And she says, no, you won't. Which is, like, the ultimate condemnation of Victor's, like, his whole desire to bring everyone together and to care about other people around him and his, like, humanity, basically. And it's like, oh, he is striving for all of this, but Sky realizes that in this moment, like, he's not going to miss their talks because he doesn't really care about this stuff. So I don't know exactly.
He only cares about Jace. But I thought that was just because we're all going to be one, so we will be able to, like, infinitely, we're always talking to each other or something like that. That's how I took that. That is a more Ava thing than even Arcane presents.
Wait, you think, so in this scene, Sky, when she says, no, you won't, like, you're not going to miss our talks, what do you mean? Like, you think she's saying that, like, don't worry, we're going to be together anyway.
Like, we're not going to actually not be speaking.
I
guess the other one's more interesting of her being like, no, you won't. But that could just be him being, because she was never what do you call it when you give back the love, EliteAri? It starts with an R. Reciprocal or something. That's the word. Her love was never reciprocated, EliteAri. I'm a genius. So maybe that was just a callback to that. I don't know. So she's like, no, you don't care about me, stupid. You've just been looking over me to your boyfriend.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Poor Mel never gets a scene to be like, well, Jace is dead, Lamau. She's just posing at the end, so that's funny.
That's okay. We don't care that much about Mel. She can have her own little ending. We don't mind.
Her own little series next. That's what the people are telling me, EliteAri.
Maybe. But okay, Victor, that's good enough for now. You know, who knows? Interpretations, I don't know. Rewatches, videos,
Victor,
who knows?
I barely missed her. That sounds like a Jinx line, EliteAri.
That's so true. All right, you want to talk about Mel that you were completely wrong about? You said that she wasn't the actual person, and she was. And
no, they never said she was the bastard, did they?
Because not only did they. Oh my! What do you mean? Wait, you're even denying now that she's not the bastard?
No, I was like, oh, they never resolved that, and this won't even be a funny part in the discussion. So enlighten me. What did they say then?
I think they referred to this like 3 times, like explicitly. The first time is when she's talking to the other people in that realm, right? The girl or whatever. I'm assuming is a lead character. Like
she calls her sister because they're sisterhoods in the mage. But even if they are literally sisters, then the other one would obviously be the bastard.
What do you mean? What?
Because they still refer to the other one as brother, not like half brother or anything.
Wait, I am so lost. Who are they referring to as brother?
Well, the original brother when she's talking to her mother about it.
Wait, the brother has to.
Well, they would be half brothers, so you'd think if Mel was actually revealed to be the bastard, they would have a line in there where she's like, "And he's only my half brother, the bitch. I knew what you did," or something like that.
Wait, so your reason for saying it's not Mel, despite the powers, despite calling her sister, despite
my reason
her
is
mom,
that they never say anything about it in these episodes.
Doesn't her mom have? She has like a whole scene with her mom, right?
I missed something.
Doesn't she have a whole scene with her mom?
She does talk to her mother.
Yeah, where she's like, "Oh, what did you do to my brother or whatever?" And she's like, "Oh,
we got a non-answer, right?"
No, oh my god. I'm 100% confident. There's no doubt, but I don't remember the details enough to like argue it here.
Well, we'll wait for the great Mia.
No, we don't even. Wait, no,
they never resolved it.
In this moment, we don't need Mia because I don't like. Even if there's no chance he argues against me here, there is like a 0 chance. I don't.
Well, I'm waiting for what they said in the show that confirmed it, EliteAri. Can you just tell me?
Yeah, calling. Okay. You know what? Honestly, let's pause this discussion. I'm gonna look it up. So in the scene with Ambessa and Mel, they're talking to each other, and they're talking about the brother. Do you remember? You remember that, right? That's what you were talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they're saying here about the brother?
I don't remember.
Okay, so what you're saying is that
I remember
in this scene,
I remember waiting for them to explain how he died, but I don't think they ever did.
Okay, so my understanding here is in the first scene where Mel is talking to the weird magic woman. She says that your brother's death was not one of your mother's lies. And what Ambessa has previously said is that the Black Rose killed the brother previously, right? Do you agree to that?
I don't remember that, but sure. It sounds like it would be correct.
So in that case, the brother died, right? And the Rose killed them, right? And it was because of Ambessa doing, like, having fought them or being wronged them or whatever. It was like revenge. They killed the brother. The people at the beginning of the episode say this. The scene with Mel and Ambessa is about this. And Ambessa is like, being defensive and like, you can understand the decision I had to make, that I had to sacrifice one child for another and blah, blah, blah. The brother was just killed and it wasn't anyone special. They were just killed because Ambessa had to be punished. You agree with that?
Sure.
Okay. So then you agree also that there is some other daughter or like some other offspring of Ambessa who is important to these mage people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You agree there is no other children that we know of.
Or just people?
We know there is no other children that we know of Ambessa, right? She doesn't ever point out anyone.
Why is he ignoring me?
There's no other. I just want to know. I want to know what you think. So so you agree that there is no one else. You agree there is no one else.
Mel is the bastard in the episode.
There is no one else.
But that didn't happen.
That could qualify for this position that we know at the moment, right? Maybe in a future series we could find them, right? But at the moment there is no one that could qualify as a child of Ambessa that we know of, right?
It's obviously Mel. Nobody's disputing this.
So it's Mel. You agree? I win. Okay, easy. Okay, let's keep going.
Well, that doesn't say that she's a bastard. I just have to rewatch this scene from the last one to wherever they brought up the bastard initially. Because I remember thinking, oh, and this is when the brother says it transforms into LeBlanc or whatever this dumb rose bitch's name is in League, and goes, and I'm the bastard bitch, and I'm here for revenge. But also, the whole point is that, and I think that's what this Reddit thread I just brought up was trying to say, was that, like, oh, why did they originally fight? And they were like, well, she was hiding Mel from these people because these people would have made her a magician or something, and it wasn't because she didn't have the power to rule. So I don't know anything about this fucking Mel storyline.
Yeah, so
And then at the
I
end,
don't
she's
care
gone back with him or
whatsoever about
something.
any of this. The only thing I care about is last time when we had a disagreement on if Mel was the super powerful bastard person that they were talking about last time. Do you agree with that? That she was revealed to be in these final few episodes?
No, I don't agree with that at all.
So then that's what I was walking
I
you
have to rewatch
through.
that scene. I don't even know if the bastard. I don't know any context about the bastard. I don't remember our argument really. I just remember you getting very angry because it was like, well, Mel's the bastard, and I don't even know how it would have escalated.
Okay, so you don't understand the context. You don't have a conclusion. You were saying, but before you were saying that because they didn't refer to the brother as like some other like.
No, I said that would have should have brought up the bastard at all in this scene, and if it would have led me to think that maybe Mel was the bastard. But I watched this whole thing and I was waiting for some sort of resolution to our great argument, but it never happened. But you're saying it did happen.
I'm saying it did happen because there's no other candidate, right? It would be Mel because there's no one else who is.
I don't know what the
for
candidacy is for. I don't know
a child
what
of Ambessa who is a result of like some sex
when
with
they're
these
talking
witches
about that thing in that scene, they're obviously referring to Mel. I don't know if that connects to the bastard at all.
So you think that the bastard storyline was completely like it was disregarded?
Let me look it up.
If
LeBlanc is white, EliteAri has to be right. But also, there's like
what does that have to do with anything?
Characters in this silly because that's the character EliteAri, and it can't be them. LeBlanc.
Wait, I understand. Oh, you have a theory that like the League of Legends character, the champion, is the bastard, and it was just a reference to League fans.
Well, no, whoever that character, that witch girl was the bastard, was what I thought last time.
Then why were they searching for the bastard last time? And then when they found Mel here, they're like, "We need your help to save the world."
Sisters, Lamau, and that's why we're going to help you take down Ambessa.
Do you remember the scene in this where they were talking about, say, like taking down Ambessa for the sake of the world, right?
Huh?
You remember the scene where they're talking about taking down Ambessa to save the world, right? Because they saw that in the future she's going to destroy the world or whatever, right? You remember that scene from this final arc?
Someone said something about what?
They said, Mel, we need your help. The Rose Lady said, we need your help so that we can stop your mother from destroying the world. Yes, this batch, yes.
So the black lady, not Ambessa, EliteAri, you racist, the one that clouded in black, says that. So let's see. Wait, how does this resolve? So we were in... Did Mel breaks out of the prison or something? Then episode 7, we don't see her. Okay. Episode 8, what's the first scene with Mel? Is she already broken out and is a cool mage or not? No, there's a scene where she becomes a cool mage, right?
So the first scene, she's broken out, she's covered in gold and stuff, and she's talking to the witch. They show her a vision of the future, which is Ambessa standing like... Well, I don't know if it's Ambessa technically, but they talk about your mother's going to lead to this destruction, and they show this like big destruction.
So they were just trying to stop Victor.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
That is right? Because in the end, all the plot lines became one plot line.
Yes.
And it was kind of disappointing on this Rose front.
Yes.
I mean, I guess by implication, all the storylines are one. That sucks. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Which would make Mel the prophesized person that is important to the witches.
Mel-like.
Okay, excellent. I'm glad I could convince you, Kyle.
But there was no outright confirmed you're the bastard. So
I mean, can you ever confirm anything in a story, Kyle? I don't think there is any.
No, you can't, EliteAri. That's the great thing. You can never say a descriptively real thing about anything.
So I don't know why you're searching for a confirmation when I think, we can arrive at our conclusions there.
I didn't bring up this argument. I didn't bring it up originally, I bet you.
Probably not. But I'm glad I convinced you. Look at this. Okay, we're all coming together.
I wasn't convinced.
Just like Arcane.
Tentative. I'm just saying. In fact, I'm going to make a video about Arcane's dropped plotline. It's going to be this bastard thing.
Excellent. All right, Kyle, where do you want to go next then? Go ahead.
I was right about Victor. How about that? Let's just get into all the things I was right about.
You are?
Arcane sucks. I was right about that one. Jinx is going to die in the end. I was right about that one almost.
Mm-hmm.
I made that all the way back at the beginning. And then... They did have the sex scene, EliteAri. Can we talk about it?
That is true. So what did you think about it, Kyle? I know you love your sex scenes.
Oh my god, it was all centered on backs, EliteAri. Can you believe it?
That is true. You like backs. I've heard that before.
But Vi isn't sexy, EliteAri. She's a lesbian. And I don't even like Caitlyn. So it wasn't stimulating, but it was very romantic, EliteAri. Weren't you just clutching your pearls? And, they undressed each other and something. But that's not all that we have in love EliteAri. We've also got Echo and Yucky Powder. They were in love or something. Now EliteAri, me and Minty had a big what was Arcane trying to say with this conversation? So Powder, we're moving on. Powder and Echo in the alternative reality are dating, right? Already.
I mean, probably, most likely.
But you only know this because of the line before they don't kiss. I can't remember if they kissed or not. I'm pretty sure they didn't. Echo says, can we pretend like it's the first time? Obviously, because he's a different Echo to the normal Echo from their timeline. And he would only say that if they were dating.
Well,
they act throughout the episode not really like they're dating.
No, they
there's
definitely...
also a line where...
No, they definitely... Well, okay, obviously, this is much more ambiguous, but Vander and, like, all these people are talking about, like...
But they're like, oh, you're going to get together, you two. You just don't know it yet. Was kind of the vibe I got.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it has to be that they were doing it.
When I was watching it, my assumption was that in this world, either they're, like, briefly, like, maybe they've started dating and they're kind of just, like... Or maybe they're not clear about what's going on, but they definitely are, like, together. That was kind of my reading. Like... I assumed, oh, maybe they've kissed before, maybe not.
For Echo to say that line, he has to have known that they've kissed before. But how would he know that anyway? I guess he could have asked somebody off screen if they were dating, or maybe he probably picked up on it.
Yeah, I assumed he just picked up on it.
Well, it's pretty obvious. Now, I've forgotten this somehow. But, one of the overall points I wanted to make in this great discussion, before EliteAri, derailed into nonsense about Mel
not being confirmed as the crushed you in an argument there. Yeah, go ahead.
You don't need to reiterate your point over and over again, EliteAri. It makes you seem stupid and desperate, frankly. Don't derail me, EliteAri. What the fuck was I saying?
Destroyed in an argument. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I don't...
You were talking about the Echo and...
Oh, everything being made better because of the ending. But that doesn't really mean anything because Arcane sucks. So, obviously, when we go into this alternative reality and Jinx is hanging out with Echo, you're like, oh yeah, these characters are the same age and they're a boy and a girl, so we're supposed to have thought they were shipped the whole time. And then I remember this fight on the bridge, and I'm like, oh, that might be good now if you go back and watch it, because, they're in love and stuff, and love makes everything better. But they're just like, you know how you're like a star-crossed lover, but it's like the opposite of that, where they should be in love, but they weren't because of this evil timeline. Isn't it so funny how they like made the break-in episode 1 so important for the timeline in EliteAri? That was like the split. That was great. That was hilarious.
Yeah, initially when they talked about that, I was like, I don't know if I buy this, but by the end of it, I was like, yeah, I guess I buy this. Like it probably could have.
That bitch died, EliteAri. That bitch bye.
Yeah. Well, more importantly, Jace was probably imprisoned for like working on the hex tech and killing these kids. But yeah.
True. That's why he was never around, and we didn't see Victor there. And then Jace went to a different timeline where everything was sad and he hurt his leg. Now we're not up to that yet. We were talking about, what were we talking about?
God.
Love making everything better. And because now you can go back and think that bridge scene that was lame and boring, and Echo, who has been boring throughout the whole show, who is made by this great episode of EliteAri, obviously the best episode of the bunch. We love alternative universe stuff, EliteAri. It's the greatest at everything. Now, and then they had a little dance scene, and then they nearly kissed, and it was very sweet. So Arcane, historically, boring on love. This time, good on love.
And... above all that,
good on you, love.
The scene where they were dancing was a low frame rate, and I actually liked it. And every time I see a low frame rate thing, I always hate it, but my goodness, this time they did it well. So well done, Arcane, I guess. Yeah, I guess I generally agree. It was pretty good.
I remember when Silco popped up, and then he was like, didn't you try to kill him? But then they misunderstood it because Vander tried to kill Silco only in this timeline. That was it. And he said, you gotta forgive. Wasn't that just cute?
So cute, yep.
And then he was hugging that one dude nobody remembers.
That was pretty sick.
That I think he lived with.
Oh, because that was cute. Okay,
they did the scene twice for no reason.
Well, Echo said that he loves him or whatever. It was like, thank you for everything you've done, and he had no idea what to say, and he just didn't say anything. It was great. I liked it.
It was the most awkward bad you.
It was the most awkward, descriptively real thing ever. I liked it a lot. I was like, this is.
No, it was not descriptively real in an ounce. Arcane has never done anything descriptively real in its life.
You're right. You're right.
Plastic and terrible.
Yep,
and nobody would ever talk
except
like any
for
of these
that
characters.
Benzo Echo scene that was very great. That was cute.
No. Benzos, that's a drug, EliteAri. Now, the love and the and that rat was there, EliteAri, and he fucking died. That rat, he was there for like years and stuff, and he was just having the best time because hex tech wasn't invented, because he hates that little Jace. And remember how we're pretending that him and Echo are like student and something something, and then they created a big like ball thingy, and then it was time travel. The time travel happened to EliteAri, but it was just fake cool action time travel. It wasn't like narrative time travel too much, so it was cool time travel. We liked that. And 4 seconds is the limit, but then he went plus ultra beyond 1,000,000% punch.
Yeah, so the thing
that was at the climax later.
The thing I liked the most about this whole experimentation scene with time travel was the fact that finally we actually get to see Heimerdinger do something, because he is like so proclaimed as like he's like this legendary scientist and stuff, and then finally he like Ecker's gone on his date or whatever, he comes back and Heimerdinger's like insanely improved everything and has made this whole giant contraption and is like clearly obsessed with science, and we see like a side of him which we haven't seen before. Like, this is great. This is like the Heimerdinger I finally
remember when he sung a
song? This whole time. That was also pretty cool. I like that.
No, that was terrible. I hated that.
That was probably the best song in all of these. I really like that one.
No, the best song was the Jinx killing herself song. Now, that was only in episode 9, though. But that was also the best time travel moment when he was trying to convince Jinx not to kill herself. God, I love it when characters kill themselves, EliteAri. They're just like me for real.
Yeah. Wait, before we get too distracted here about Heimerdinger, there's one more thing. So obviously, I know I've hated Heimerdinger this whole time, or I found him very uninteresting. I'm sure you have too.
I love
He did something cool here, which was like without saying anything, he like sacrifices himself.
My boy.
Yeah, exactly. That's all he says, and he like kills himself. And I'm like, oh, you didn't have to say anything. That was great. You conveyed everything you had to.
That's the most generic thing I've ever seen in my life.
What's like another example of this, I guess, because I can't think of anything.
We don't give examples here.
Why is it generic, though?
And don't worry, me and Minty already laughed at it together.
Wait, sorry, at the fact that he didn't say anything when he went to kill himself, is that what you mean?
No, he said goodbye and ran off. They do that in every movie, Noble Sacrifice. Isn't that what... Well, Iron Man tried to do that, but he failed.
Firstly, he didn't say goodbye, right? He said, like, I enjoyed the time or something like this, or you're a great student or something like that.
Well, I thought he said goodbye, your boy, or something.
All right, we going back to the episode again? All right,
no, it was generic. I remember my feeling more than the actual details.
Let's have a look.
I remember thinking, this is laughable and terrible.
All right, we got
the actual thing doesn't matter at all. I don't know why you would bring that up.
Because it's important. I think you're undermining my point here.
What's not important is what the show did. It's my feeling afterwards of genericism.
Yeah, so I'm going to have a look here. So what does he say? Okay, he's going crazy. Never a dull moment, he says. Never a dull moment. It's the first line. I must say that since I've met you, lad, I've truly lived. That's it. That's all he says. He says back in a wink.
Cool.
Yeah. He doesn't even, like, hint that he's going to die. He's like, I'll be back. He just doesn't come back.
It's so obvious he's going to die earlier. He's leaving the thing. It's the most generic thing anybody's ever seen in their life.
Is the most awesome thing I've ever seen in my life. It actually, you know what, it brings Heimerdinger to be like a BT character.
The only not generic thing about this was that we were confused on whether or not he was dead or not. And this is something I just realized when you were doing that, because you gave me a moment to think. I was like, even when Arcane does something that's like almost different to everything you've ever seen in your life, it's like you think it's like incompetent because it fucks it up. God, Arcane sucks. That happened with when the Lewis dude just gets shot, and you're like, oh, so it's not crazy. Like a cool, oh, this was subversive. It was just like, oh, he just died, Lamel. This is retarded.
So what's the element in this scene, in the Heimerdinger scene?
That he just leaves. It's obviously the heroic sacrifice. He's the older dude. He can easily die because he's just obvious. The death flag's walking for the beginning. He's like the older dude from the previous generation.
Yeah, I get that.
And he's just saying, "Oh, see you later, brother. I loved you." And you're not. But he, and then he runs off and he just zapped himself. But he fucking died.
Huh. I guess what I see. Okay, now maybe it's just because I'm not thinking of other examples. Because what you were saying. Wait, you were saying. Firstly, wait a minute. You were saying that like this is a very generic thing, and they always sacrifice themselves and say something like goodbye or whatever. They don't necessarily say I'm going to kill myself or anything like that, right?
No, because the thing that makes it generic doesn't really have anything to do with what he says. It's all the actions and how he says it, and then how he runs off and how he dies.
Yeah,
or not. He just got zapped a little bit.
Wait, what was it? Oh, now I've been distracted. What was I going to say? Heimerdinger
defeated, I think.
Killing himself. I think the distinction here, because this is very, like, this is a thing that I do think is different. There is no, like, I feel like in any scene like this, you would have a scene where the character is, like, smiling or something, where Heimerdinger is, like, smiling at him, like, a knowing, like, oh, I'm not going to see you again. Or, like,
yes,
he would
they're
hit something
frantically
toward that,
doing
right?
something, and then the music cuts in. We cue in, close-up shot on the Heimerdinger. He looks at him, and he realizes the sacrifice he must make.
Exactly,
and then he does it. And then
now we don't get that, right? That's the thing we don't get in the scene. Yeah, which is what I think makes it so different to me when I'm watching this. And I'm like, this is actually really interesting because we don't get that scene of like acknowledgement of I'm going to kill myself here. It's just he does it without
There's not just one generic way to do this, EliteAri. There's many generic ways.
Wait, I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, you could have done what we just described in great detail, or what I just described in great detail. Or we could do it how they did it, which was very generic. I'm sure
What
there's
do
a
you?
third, and a
Okay,
fourth, and a fifth
I know
one.
we've done this before. What do you mean by generic in this case?
Means I've seen it before and I groaned, and it implying that I've seen it before many times, or I've seen it before and I didn't like it, or I just don't like it this time. It gives me that feeling. I have a feeling, and I think of a word to associate with that feeling, and that word is generic.
Okay.
In my head, I go, of course, Lamau. Now, sometimes you try to equate this with predictions, but you see, EliteAri, you're just missing because the feeling part and the post Hawk part is just so important.
Yeah, I'm trying to we're gonna stop. We're gonna focus on this a bit because I want to understand it.
I thought he was going to stop the recording again, Chad. I do.
No. Because I'm trying to think. Like, I can empathize with this at some point. Have I ever said it? Can you think of an example where I've said something is like very generic and I felt it like that?
I don't know. In Arcane, probably a million times in every discussion.
I need to think of a scene which is like I kind of groan and I'm like, oh god, by doing this.
Well, are you trying to use your idea of generic or what I just described as generic?
I thought that's what you said. Is that not what you said?
Well, yeah, kinda. But you always try. It's never quite right when you just described in words like that.
Okay, what about the scene you were talking about last time, or maybe it was the first part? I don't know. I think it was the first part actually, where you have Ambessa walking in on Caitlyn and her girlfriend, and she's talking about like she's like, oh, professional entanglements, blah blah blah, whatever. You would say the same thing there, right? Where it's like, oh, I've seen this
Very
before.
much
I'm like
so.
groaning here.
But that's kind of generic in a different way, because that's generic in how it happens or like the beats of it, whereas this is more generic from like the emotional beats of it, I guess.
Okay, I can agree. That's really interesting, actually. Yeah, I can.
Because the first one has dramatic irony as part of it, and then the sense of dramatic irony is crushed because we find out that the character really did know it, and it's like, of course she knew it, and of course we're making a little haha they had sex joke, and then it's kind of like a smirky thing, even though Ambessa kind of wasn't doing it in a smirky way.
Mm-hmm.
Now this one, I can't even remember what other scene we're talking about. Heimerdinger, he was dead and he was running off.
Yeah, I guess I can
Heroic
understand.
sacrifice.
If you're doing a more abstract thing about, like, I don't really care about the scene. I care about the emotions I'm feeling in the scene. These are generic emotions I felt before, which has nothing to do with the scene. I can agree. That's actually an interesting point, and I think I agree with that. Okay.
Well, what do you think? I'm trying to...
No. I let me just make it clear, because I think every time you say generic, there is, I think, a distinction in what you are thinking and what I am thinking.
You think I'm being objective, EliteAri?
No, not at all. No. I think when you're saying this is generic, when you're saying this is generic, I was thinking that you were thinking...
Slightly different to bad.
No, when you're saying, like, this scene is generic, it makes it sound like you're saying the way this scene is constructed and the way that it's executed is generic. Like, it's been done before. I don't find it, like, interesting. I'm groaning watching it. That's what I thought you meant by generic. But what you're saying is, it doesn't matter if the scene has been done before. It doesn't matter if, like, I truly have any examples or anything. What matters is that when I'm watching this scene, I feel like I felt this feeling before, and I felt it better. Like, I'm just not feeling it here as much. Like, I felt it before, the similar kind of feeling,
it's
but it's not the same.
Feeling it better, I guess, because... I guess it's impossible to know if I was to watch if this was literally the first scene I had ever watched. Would I still think it was bad? Probably not. I'd be like, oh, it's a movie. What is this? So it's just like a impossible. What would you be thinking then? I can't remember where else I was going with that.
Okay. Oh, well, I feel like I understand that a lot better now. Okay. Okay, let's keep going.
Stupid.
Anything you wanna...
Jace, they danced. Not Jace. Jinx, that's the one, and Echo, they did a dance. He painted a Vi mural. That was pretty lame. I thought that was funny. It's also like the Steins Gate thing of why isn't he just telling her? Like, it's kind of silly, but whatever. There's what else happened in this great episode? Oh, the Jace stuff.
Heimerdinger exploded. That was kind of crazy.
Well,
like, he went back more than 4 seconds. No, he like exploded into blood.
Oh yeah, that time he did.
That was crazy.
And then he was like, "Are you sure, my boy?"
Yep.
I'm sure.
All right, here's a question.
Yes,
do you think Echo and Jinx like a pair in League of Legends? Do you think, or something? Is this why it was done?
No, I think it's wokeness, EliteAri, to have an interracial relationship.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. I have one more note before we talk about Jace, I guess. Or two, sorry. One is that they had this scene where they're doing the time travel, right? They're like introducing to the audience that time travel is happening. So they repeat it like 3 times. And you know what? It was okay, you know? I think 3 is a good number.
You love show, don't tell, EliteAri, you do?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I feel like Yeah, it was fine. 3 times was fine, basically. If they did it more,
It was
like,
the
they
wrench
made
thing, right?
the worst time this has ever been done was in Madame Web, and it's like because there's time travel or there's like predicting the future, right? And in order to show that like the character is predicting the future, they play this scene that goes for like 30 seconds, and they do it like 4 times, like in a row, and every time like she like gets like this exact same dialogue, and I'm like, what do you think the audience has like a 0 IQ here? Like, why are you doing this? And you know what, Arcane like strayed a little bit into that by doing it 3 times, but it was okay. You know, it was tolerable. It was quick.
That is a fun time travel trope of like, how does the character communicate that he's time traveling to the other characters very quickly? I can't actually remember if Steins Gate ever does it, but Edge of Tomorrow does it really cool, where he's just like finishing all their sentences, and it's like, oh,
True.
okay, we've had this conversation 50 million times. And because he always has to go to the same girl, and she used to have his. You've never seen Edge of Tomorrow. This doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my god, he goes to that Australian girl, and he's got to convince her every time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then they were in love. That was Tom Cruise, and that was based on a manga.
Okay, one more note I have here about episode 7 as a whole, which is that I don't have a strong conclusion here, but having Jinx be in this episode and be different and be happy, kind of, absolutely colors my perception of Jinx when I watch the next 2 episodes. Because we spend a whole episode on her like this, and when I see her in the other like timeline, I think like this implicitly just makes me frame the stuff that she's doing in the present differently. And I think the way that it makes it, I'm not sure about this, but I think the way it makes me feel is that it kind of, whenever I see her like kind of depressed or whatever in the present life, I think it makes me more willing to accept that she could actually be a force for good and do like use her like knowledge and stuff for creating good things, I guess. That's really what I felt. And I wouldn't really feel that. I wouldn't really care about that. What I would really probably care about is, oh god, her like daughter died, not her daughter, sorry, her sister died, and oh my gosh, she's like depressed and evil, and not really evil, but like now she's like lost or whatever. But because we got this episode, it like kind of feeds that into what I'm watching and what I'm feeling when I'm watching her scenes in the present. So it's kind of interesting to insert such a alternate version of Jinx for such a long time in this final stretch. Obviously it's like they did this for a reason, I guess, but yep. Any thoughts on this, Kyle?
She was just such a nice girl. No, I didn't really think, or I don't remember thinking nothing about this, you know?
Yeah.
She was just there because we were like, oh, her and Echo are supposed to be in love. Isn't that sad that they're not? And then when he stops her from killing herself, the next episode, it's pretty cool.
So true.
The next episode.
Okay, any more episode 7 notes?
Yeah, but I forgot them while you're doing that little thingy you just did.
All right, excellent. So episode 8, I only have 2 notes, so I guess nothing interesting happened in this one. No, wait, was Jace episode 7 or 8?
7.
All right, Jace. He's in like a weird world. It was kind of cool. Not really much to say, but it was cool.
And it was cool death, and everything was dead. And that one dude from his past, that was Victor in the end, he was leading him around, and then he broke his leg or something, and he had to Batman his way out, and he was eating stuff. And then he had a hammer, and then he saw like his own little thingy bowing at the top. That was kind of cool. And then, last time EliteAri, now you might be satisfied with this because we were speculating on what happened to Jace, and you were like, oh, first of all, EliteAri, remember my funny thing? So we start this episode up, and I think the last thing you said on your stream before you ended it was like, oh no, what if they do a whole episode of just Jace and Echo or something, and you said you'd kill yourself.
Yep.
So I booted up, and then I realized it was Echo, and then I did a little scroll through the timeline, EliteAri, because I just can't help myself, and I saw that it was basically just Jace and Echo the whole time, and I was like, oh no, they're doing it.
Yep.
And then I paused it, and I didn't watch the episode for like 30 minutes, and then I came back, and then it was the best episode of the bunch. So, you know, the great Echo, what a great character. We love him so much.
That's so true. My first note I wrote when I was writing my notes, I said, this better not be a whole what if episode. But yeah, I guess. I don't know,
we love what if episodes here.
Yeah.
EliteAri, a few things that we didn't bring up. One of my predictions was that in a happy ending, the fisherman was going to be in Piltover cutting things up, but in this alternative happiness, he was on the bridge.
That's exactly what I thought when he showed up. I was like, yep, that's what Kyle said last time.
Then,
it's pretty funny.
And then the other thing I have is that rat is singing yuck. And then those were all of my only notes over there.
Yep. Did you, when they were going through the Jace stuff for the first time, where we didn't know the answers, did you know what was happening? Like, did you know that was like a version of the future where like something happened and it was actually like their timeline, or like when I was watching, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if it's like a symbolic thing.
Well, this ties into our thingy from last time where I was like, oh, he just saw like the future and how it was doomed. And you're like, oh,
yeah,
no,
I was
somebody
definitely wrong about that.
But it was kind of both.
No. I mean, if anything was the
I
complete opposite.
I was right again.
It was complete opposite, where he wasn't tortured. He was kind of just like, he wanted to help his friend. Like, it was the complete opposite, where he went to Victor and like attacked him because Victor
Oh,
in the
that's
future told
true.
him
We get
to.
that recontextualization at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Because for a second there, I was like, he did just kill Victor. That was a little quick.
No, he said
But
he'd
no,
stop
he
him.
was doing it because Victor asked him to. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody.
Yep.
But yes, and the imagery of like them all being decayed and stuff in the little pattern, that was actually kind of okay. And I hate arcane imagery.
Yep. All right. So episode 8. Kyle, you know what they're doing, and what they did? They did the
Kissing.
humanity will unite for a greater threat. They did that thing.
They did, and one of the episodes had cycle in it. The title, it was great.
Yeah, I guess for anyone listening, this is like a kind of like an Attack on Titan thing, but also like a just a pretty typical like will humans come together if aliens come down? Yeah, it's like a thing people do. But yep, they did it. I was like, okay, Arcane, thanks.
They did. They walked up on the bridge, and then you thought the game was done, and then the arm lady showed up and they were, oh, we're uniting, brother. And then true.
I guess if there's other stuff in episode 9, but just to talk about the final-ish battle, just wholly. Firstly, it's like clearly it's meant to be a diversion, right? Like this isn't meant to be the big battle because Victor's not even there. Like they're fighting against Ambessa, who is merely distracting them to keep him away from the true Victor.
Well, he's in the ball thing that they're carrying, right?
No, he's not, right? They cut it open and he's not there. And like, where's Victor?
Well, yeah, eventually. Well, I assumed he just like teleported when it got broken. Or
oh no, I assumed this was a whole distraction because Victor wasn't there at all from the beginning.
Because there was like an imprint of a dude kind of in there, but
he was there at one point when they were experimenting in the Undercity, like when the scientists...
they hooked up the great Vander and they sucked his blood or something.
Yeah. So firstly, I just want to say, it felt like it was a distraction, so it's not meant to be very grand. But I have to say, it did not feel very grand to me at all. It felt like this was one of the weakest fights I think that Arcane has had, was this final battle. Firstly, the enemy that we're facing is purely Ambessa. None of the other people on her side I care about at all. It's just like nameless like Noxian guards. It
was just all the bad guys joined up. It was like Lamau, Singjerd, and Ambessa.
But he's not even in there. He's not even there. If he was there, I'd be like, oh yeah, Sinj.
Oh yeah, but it's just like before this even, like at the end of episode 8, I think is when they're hooking up Warwick to the thingy or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's like all the bad guys standing together. We didn't even need the Black Rose to come down or whatever.
Yep.
We just, all the ones we root for are on the same side. We got Caitlyn over there with Jinx. And all the bad ones are. Even Jace ended up being on our side. It was crazy.
Yep. I think it was just Ambessa was the fighting one, and then Sinj like stayed back. Was there anyone else? Like, I think it was just those.
Well,
two.
He got it. Like, there was a shot of him with his daughter or something.
That was crazy.
So
he won. He won.
I was like,
I couldn't believe it.
It was just like, if people are complaining about it being rushed, which I think they kind of are somewhat, though I think people are kind of positive on the ending. They were like, well, I'm sure that's one of them. Like, Sinjord, we needed to spend more time with.
Yep. I think it's pretty crazy that his daughter just came back, right? Like it says something.
Well, she seemed to be a robot or something.
Well, she was just fixed in the way that like Victor was fixing people, right? Which is like fine. Like
I thought it was different a little bit.
I don't think so. I think she just had she had like the effects that like, remember the guy that like Victor turned into a thing like from season 1?
Yeah, but weren't they gold? Like they had
kind
gold
of
things on
I don't know, maybe it was a bit different, but the implication I think was that they healed in the same way. Or brought her back to life that way. I don't know. Maybe she's like a robot or something. Who knows? Either way.
But didn't all of those guys fall over like at the end of an Avengers movie? So why didn't his daughter fall over?
Well, they came back as a hive mind, right? Like they were all like Victor could still control them. I guess
Victor got teleported into death or something.
Yeah, I guess my well, there's two things you could either imply. One is that maybe Victor in his like last dying breath, whatever, like did this for his old like mentor. Or there's like no evidence for that, I don't think.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, or it's like Singed was like he understood the stuff that was going with Victor better than we thought, and he actually did use it to save his daughter. Which is also very possible. I think that's probably the one I'd go with is more like supported, but the more generally interesting thing I think is that this frames Singed as kind of I don't know if it frames him as like the kind of correct one in the end or whatever, but he got what he wanted. He lives like the happy life at the end, seemingly, as long as it's like some weird robot daughter, like he's actually like coping or whatever. But whereas his student Victor kind of has to sacrifice himself in the end, didn't really understand like what he was truly going for. It feels like in the clarity in Singed's like goals and pursuits was kind of rewarded in the end, which is an interesting thing.
I think it's only rewarded because the story ended. I feel like there's no way that character gets like a...
Well, the story's over now, like right? Like I have to say that like that is...
Yeah, it's like the only reason.
No, that is well, the story's over. What do you mean?
Well, it's like saved by the story, kind of. It's like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting... yeah, true. True, Kyle. I agree. Okay. Anyway, back to... I don't have anything for episode 8, only episode 9 stuff. We've talked about the undoing suicide.
I'm trying to remember
thing
what happened in episode 8, because I'm pretty sure all the interesting stuff happened in episode 8, but I'm trying to look up what happened, and I don't remember. Over to Minty's notes, perhaps. I kind of liked the final battle aesthetically, because it was like sunset, and there was blue and stuff in it, so that was kind of cool. But it didn't feel very well, it did feel final, but like it was like fine, like there was no finale emotions there where I was like, oh, this is cool or something.
You know what it needed? I think that guy who Vader killed last time, I think it needed to come back. That big guy, the big Noxian guy. He would have been a nice like, small villain, yeah.
True.
He could have fought the big guy that looks like Vander, like who died with the arrow to the neck. They could have had a cool fight.
True. Poor. And they did have a little moment where Vi woke up and saw him as Vander.
True, yeah.
But it was just like, oh, I guess he looks like him? Cool.
He had... I can't believe it. Well, I think we only just got his name, like, in this arc for the first time. He seemed so important at the beginning, and then he just became nothing, and he never said a word, and I was like, man, okay, this is kind of crazy. Like, the girl got way more stuff with, like, Caitlyn and betraying them and blah, 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 but he just got nothing. It's kind of crazy.
And then she went to shoot Caitlyn. Could you believe it? But Mel got the bullet back at her.
That was cool. I like the ricochet thing. But yeah.
But she actually shot her. That was crazy.
Yeah, she died. Rip.
Oh, did we... Oh, first of all, I am just scrolling through Minty's notes here. They did say they did have a big scene where Jace was like, we have to come together. That was pretty terrible, but that was kind of funny.
That's
but
what I was
in that
talking
scene,
about. Yeah.
He says Rune Terror for the first time, and we know that because we both looked at that map for the first time like last week. That's crazy. I was sorting out personally. But yeah, I guess that is all that happened in fucking episode 8.
Yeah. No, it was cool. Like, there was the whole, like, scene with Mel and Jace versus Victor or whatever. That was kind of cool. It was like, oh, Victor's really
true,
powerful
Mel and Jace came back together for the final time, EliteAri. My goodness.
Yep.
Season 1 was acting like this was the most important relationship in the show, Jesus Christ. But they just went their separate ways, you know? The great Mel Medada is now gone to Noxus for the next show. At least that's what Google told me.
Maybe.
And by Google, I mean YouTube Shorts.
But remember, she's not a Medada. She said, I am no Medada. Or... No, she said, no, wait, she is. I'm wrong. She said that Ambessa is no Medada. My apologies.
Nah, she's no Medada. I don't believe it.
Sure, I agree. I'm glad I convinced you before.
Well, you know, that's only if you go through the patriarchal lens and think that she wouldn't keep her mother's name even if she was a bastard. So, EliteAri, that's a little insensitive of you.
Yeah, I can't believe you said that. Yeah.
Okay, they're gonna flip the dynamic now, and Jinx. Oh no, this is just some. Why did I read that? That was just some silly Minty nonsense. The kissing in the prison scene was also this episode. But later we got to talk about how Jinx sucks in all of these episodes, except for when she's trying to kill herself. They cut her hair off, so she looks like trash now. I hated her showing up at the final battle. It was so cringe. I hated it. And then Echo and the bros jumped down too, and it's like I remember when they fought in that one episode, and I was like, this sucks. I hate this. I hate this new Jinx. I hate everything she says in that final battle where she's like, Dad, where are you? And then she's like, sis, whenever she says sis, but she's not trying to kill her. It's so cringe, and I hate it because we hate Vi and Jinx. Even EliteAri agrees. And they're just fighting mindless Warwick, so that was pretty funny. But then Vi didn't even get to beat him, Lamau. And then she's just doing her stupid gun thing that turns from the dumb video game that looks dumb, and I don't like it. Though she had her shark thingy that was kind of cool for one scene, but she didn't get to use it where it did a big explosion again. So she should have used it just to kill Warwick, obviously, because that was really cool at the end of season 1. And Jinx sucks at the end, EliteAri.
Yeah, so I think I almost universally agree. I don't think I didn't hate it as much as you. I think it's perfectly like serviceable. It was a bit of a disappointment. No, I like the hair thing. The hair thing's fine because I hated the hair before. I think the coolest hair was when her hair was like long and spread out, like in that one shot. That was really cool. But I think the bigger, the thing I agree with more is that I felt like the big appearance of Jinx at the end felt very much like it should have been bigger or something. Like it felt like, oh, she's got like this weird like balloon thing and she's like shooting her gun, which is a bit weak. And I was like, I felt like this feels like it's meant to be that big moment in Game of Thrones where like Littlefinger shows up, or that moment in the Helm's Deep or whatever where the blah blah blah. I have no idea. No, not Helm's Deep. Sorry, the big battle in Lord of the Rings or whatever.
Yes, Battle of the Black
It's meant to be
Water,
that moment where the people come and show up, and it felt a bit weak. The coolest part of it was, I think, the Fireflies thing with the whole boards and stuff. And this is like mildly cool, but even that, it was way cooler last season in their appearances and that scene on the bridge with Echo and stuff, and it was perfectly serviceable. I think the most interesting part of this whole like last fight probably was the Echo stuff. Like visually, at least, it looked really cool. Especially the part right at the end when he's like trying to get the Jason using the rewind thing, and like that was cool. But I do think that Jinx's kind of element in this fight was a bit weak. He ended up doing it. He did it many times, and at the end, he like finally threw the thing at Victor. Which is
No,
what led
not
to
use
the
it.
whole...
Like get to Jace.
Yeah, he
whatever.
threw the time travel thing at Victor, which is what like snapped him out of his spell and
Oh
let
yeah,
Jinx,
because he had the
Jace,
little
talk to him.
thingy.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah, so I think I generally agree with you, but I
The,
think there was like some of the Echo stuff was cool.
Did you like Echo's very obviously from the video game swords he like was like looking at the end too, or I think he was using them. That was pretty cool. They were like blue and they were like
Yeah, it was
blue
like a
and green
green one,
that color.
Yeah, that was like okay.
Yeah,
It was kind of cool.
I was like, oh, we love video games here. And also, like the Jinx and Vi stuff just feels like so disconnected from everything else. And they're just fighting. Then there's just like Warwick became a bad guy here. So it's
So
like
to me,
because there is a moment where they like Jace and Victor are shooting up through the thing or whatever, and they passed them for a second. I was like, oh, they're gonna do some weird cool thing to tie them in, but no, they just went past them. And so it just feels
actually,
like,
but that was pretty cool though. When
on?
Victor came through, I was like, oh my god, this is like so cool. Oh my god. But yeah, there was nothing that was really done with it, but it just looked cool. Now I have to say, like obviously, I liked the hug stuff last season. I last arc, and I thought that was the climax of this whole like relationship stuff with Vi and Jinx and Arc and Vander and everything. And I think it just kind of was like they didn't do anything else, and I'm kind of glad because it didn't undermine anything that was done last time. But it did feel like they climaxed with that last arc, and there was nothing for like the Jinx Vi relationship here at all that I liked. It was all just like, okay, this is like fine, whatever. We're just like they have to be around because like they're like main characters or whatever, but nothing interesting was done here. I was kind of glad that Vander didn't come back because I was like, that's gonna kind of undo the scene from last arc. But yeah, it was fine. I don't know. I kind of wish she died as well, but if she didn't, like, that's fine as well. I guess I guess I did like I think maybe you talked about this at the beginning. I don't remember exactly what you said, but I did like it when I thought that Jinx did kill herself at the end because it kind of felt like, man, this is actually kind of depressing and like okay, she's doing a good thing and like she's trying to she's trying to do the inverse of what happened in the like in her childhood with Silco and with Vander and everything in episode 3. But she's like doing it the wrong way and she's like killing herself and clearly that's not what Vi wants and Vi's gonna be traumatized for her whole life and everything because of this and she's gonna blame herself because she called out to Vander or like tried to help Vander. And I was like, this is all interesting. But the fact that like she kind of decide like if she does survive in that scene and Jinx like kind of escapes on that little purple streak like we talked about, it kind of undermines that scene a little bit because it's like she was thinking this whole time that she was gonna like kind of escape. She wasn't planning to die here. She was planning to like kind of use this as a moment to like hide herself and run away, which feels like why was she what like she like it's weird that she's running away. She does want Vi
to think she's dead, right?
Yeah, but
because
why?
That was like the whole thing. She locked her in the prison because you can be with Caitlyn and not with me, and you're always worrying about me and something like that or something. They were doing something with that.
Yeah, so then that kind of it feels weird to me, right? Like Jinx should realize
the theme
in this
is sort of like
that,
if you're ruining your sister's life, just get out of her life forever, which is kind of funny. Epic. I like that.
Even just on a forgetting themes, just as a character perspective, like she's Vi is gonna blame herself for like Jinx's death here because of the Vander stuff. Like the only reason that Jinx had to kill herself is because she tried to save Vander in that scene. Which is like I don't know, it just feels weird to me that Jinx would in that moment choose that moment to be the one like Vi, go live a happy life. I'm gonna like go kill myself or whatever. But it feels like it just falls flat because
EliteAri, let's just say it.
I don't think rushed has anything to do with it. There was plenty of time for them to like set it up differently. I think the whole just the configuration of the scene with like trying to save Warwick or Vander.
We're running out of time, brother.
Yeah.
Don't worry, maybe Jinx ran off and she'll be in the great Noxus TV show.
Maybe, true.
Her and Mel, all those previous scenes they had together, we can call back to them.
Yep. Okay. Can we also say, Kyle, Mel, kind of cool, she's like a mage and stuff. Her powers are really lame. She never really does anything interesting besides that one bullet ricochet thing.
The bullet thing, EliteAri.
That's the one cool thing.
He also helped Caitlyn beat her mom, but that was more about Caitlyn beating her, which is kind of weird. But all right. And then Caitlyn got stabbed in the eye, and she wears an eye patch, and apparently she wears an eye patch in League of Legends.
I assumed, yeah.
I didn't know that.
The one cool thing was just kind of about her even undermining her powers, which was when Victor was in that robot thing, was fighting Mel the first time, like with the whole Jace Mel like Victor scene. And Victor kind of just like beat her, and I was like, oh, okay, that's like kind of funny. She like just got her powers, and Victor's immediately like beating her. That was like the one cool thing with her powers, but anyway.
Because it was rushed, EliteAri, should have had an episode to beat up a small.
No, I thought that was cool. That's I actually like that. I'm glad it was rushed then, I guess, in that case.
Rushed, bro.
But I guess also one more thing before we continue on here. I wanted to talk a little bit about... Sorry.
Funny how you can say everything is rushed, EliteAri. It's so easy.
I mean, Yeah, it's kind of funny.
That's what they did to
I
Attack on
want to.
Titan. Remember?
I just want to say about Ambessa. There is an element to this like final stretch here where it's kind of like she is fighting a battle that she truly just like I don't. She doesn't have a strong motivation for fighting here.
Yeah, why does she
Yeah,
like? Does she not realize that Victor's gonna like fuck her up or something? She just wants power to beat the Rose people, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so what I do find interesting was like something that was seeded a little earlier, like in maybe at the beginning of this arc, was that she's basically I think it's in the scene where she's talking to Mel and kind of getting upset at Mel and like slapping her and yelling about the brother and stuff. And the way that she's
He did slap her.
portrayed, yeah, the way she's portrayed in that scene to me, Ambessa that is that it looks like she is like she has like a pathetically paranoid kind of fear of being attacked and being undermined. And it kind of feels like maybe it like has to do with like how she was what she was like as a kid and like how maybe what happened to like her like I don't even know because I know yesterday I watched that weird like trailer thing or not trailer.
Oh, I was
the
gonna
music
bring that
thing.
up as a joke, Leary.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if it has anything to do with that, where it's like maybe she's been in these, she's lost a lot of people in the past, and she's like paranoid about losing people in the future, and it's like this pathetic kind of paranoia is the way that she's portrayed to me in these kind of stretch here, which is like interesting.
And that's why she sent Mel away.
Yes, kind of. But yeah, she's portrayed very pathetically, which I think is interesting. But this is just like a minor thing, and I think generally she is kind of weak in this stretch where I'm like, I don't know if she's a good villain to have as this like final kind of villain. But
So
yeah.
Mel used to live in like Noxus, right? Before she was sent away when she was a little kid or something.
We did get that one scene where she was like going to behead that lady, right? That we've seen. She was pretending to be the witch lady as well. The witch lady was pretending to be her. So yeah, I think she did.
So Ambessa's husband, right, who birthed the king. So he was just like
Who birthed the king?
He thought Mel was his daughter.
I have no idea. Do we even have a mention of her dad?
Doesn't make any sense. I don't think she's the bastard.
I don't know. Do we even know her dad at all? Was he ever mentioned?
No, of course not.
Yeah, so there we go. Okay.
Wait, was her brother the king? Is she like royalty?
I have no. Oh, her Ambessa's brother. She had a brother.
No, Ambessa's son, the brother to Mel, because they do say he was like the leader or something. I don't know if they call him the king.
There might have been some dialogue about this. I doubt it, because I feel like it would have been a.
Well, he's sat in like a throne and stuff, right? I think.
Where is
no,
this
because the
coming
first
from?
time we see him is in the stupid thing, is in the Flash thingy.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a question for someone who remembers season 1 more than me. I don't know. It's very possible. I have no idea. Okay, Ambessa.
Well, in my shorts, it said Noxus had 3 leaders and there's no king, so I don't think that can be true. But Ambessa is like the 3rd secret one and something, and they're all warriors or something. And it's very big, and it's like right next to Piltover.
True. Okay.
I know everything.
I guess
they never got sent to a 5v5 MOBA arena EliteAri.
I mean, we don't know that, right?
Oh, even at the end. Oh, that's where Jason Victor went. This is epic. Even at the end, like they're breaking into the city. I'm like, what if they just have like a tower that shoots out at them or something? And I was like, that would be I would be sweet, and it would be great.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Yeah. I guess the implication. Well, it's not really an implication. Do you think Victor and Jace, because it looked like the visual that was on screen when it happened at the end, it looked like they got sucked into the like singularity thing. Do you think it's like meant to imply that they are that like balance that's going on this whole time we're talking about, where it's like every action has like a reaction, and yeah, do you think that is that what it's meant to be saying?
One's the perfect Giga Chad and one's the little disabled boy, but together they're partners and they're just opposites. And one of them's German or something, and one of them sounds American. You know,
true.
One of them's sexy.
I thought it was Russian for some reason. Yeah.
I don't know what he is.
Crazy. Yeah, so they became the AI in the hex deck. There was no AI, Kyle. It was just Jason Victor being themselves inside that hex deck thing the whole time, I'm sure. Also, just like as a sci-fi thing, it's kind of crazy that there are just like alternate universes in this Arcane thing, right? Like when Echo left, like Jinx was still there in that alternate universe, and they just kept going on. Yeah, with a new Echo. I was like, that's kind of crazy.
That was I was thinking. I was like, fantasy. I was writing the show as I was watching it EliteAri. I was like, what if Heimerdinger, because Heimerdinger wants to stay here. What if the conflict is Echo wants to go, Heimerdinger wants to stay? Now we've seen that before. Even that's generic EliteAri. But then Heimerdinger's argument is like, when we zap out, because I think they say this in Steins Gate at some point, when you zap out, like that world line or this alternative universe like ceases to exist. And then we jump back. So I was like, are you really going to kill everybody just so you can go back to your shitty timeline, Echo? And I thought it was like, oh, what if we convince him to like stay here? And that's why we didn't see him and we only saw Jace and not these two. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen, but I was like, well, that would be crazy. Alternative universe, but only one exists. But we've also seen the other one happening, so that doesn't really make it.
Mm-hmm. True.
But yes, alternative universes, EliteAri. Just like in our universe, there's infinite multiple universes, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have no idea, but maybe. Okay.
There's one where Mel really is the bastard, EliteAri. It's crazy.
Yeah, this one. I'm glad I convinced you. So for the Ambessa stuff,
Should have just said there was all of them.
yeah, Ambessa died. What are we meant to feel?
As a warrior!
Yeah, what are we meant to feel when she's dead?
It's supposed to be like, it is like, oh no, EliteAri, cover your ears. It is like the generic, like the bad guy you kind of respect dying thing, where it's like, oh, I'm actually going to miss watching them on the screen, but they're sad, and they're dead, and they had to die, and we probably should have killed them, but aw.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really see her as, like, sympathetic at all. I was like, oh, shit, the villain died. Okay.
Well, it's not like sympathy. Well, it's kind of sympathy just because she's dying in the end, but it's like, oh, it's almost like a respect thing, almost of like, what a warrior.
True.
Like you kind of feel that for that big dude in the last group, right? You're like,
I was kind of glad he died.
What a big guy.
Yeah.
What a big guy. But yeah, it's not like Warwick or something where it's just like a crazy beast, and you're like, oh, thank God we got rid of that fella.
Yeah.
Or like when Ramsay Bolton dies, there's no like, I'm gonna miss him. There's just like oh, we got him, he's dead, he can't kill all of our favorite guys anymore. But Ambessa, she was it's like when Tywin died and you're a little sad.
So true. I guess the one cool thing about her death was the very brief moment where like Mel kind of puts her in, or like she gives them to the Rose, and the Rose puts her in the cool visual of the chains, and I'm like, man, I love these chains. So
but then she steals her back from the Rose or something.
Yeah, I think she still died.
The Rose lady has a funny line where she's like, "Sister, why?" or something. Yeah. It's like, you can't.
Maybe she just killed them all. Maybe the Rose people are dead now because of Mel. Who knows? I mean, they got what they wanted, right? They wanted the end of Ambessa so she would not destroy the world or whatever. So it all worked out for them.
Why would they? I guess maybe they're just framing it as the end of Ambessa just to get to Mel. But why wouldn't they be like? Because Ambessa can clearly like keep living. They just have to get rid of Victor to stop the world from ending.
Well,
so unless it is just a personal grudge.
No, well, we don't know. Or
Ambessa is such a destructive force, she will always look to end the world or something in her blind pursuit.
It could be that, or it could literally just be like, we can't touch Victor. We need to stop Ambessa, who is supporting Victor. Victor, like, she is the key to like Victor's success. Without her, he can't achieve what he wants. So it could be something like that, right?
I guess.
But I do like your ambition thing. Like her untamable ambition will always lead to it. That's pretty cool. You're a genius, Kyle. Well done. Sometimes, of course. So
I'm of course always correct, as EliteAri just said.
Yeah. What is this?
Victor. It's your mother.
I guess we didn't really talk about it that much, but Victor in the original like timeline, he just like won. Like he did it. He achieved what he wanted.
He was cool.
And he just wasn't happy with it. He says, "There is no prize for perfection, only an end to pursuit." I was like, oh, that's
true, because it's the imperfections
that
make us who we are, EliteAri.
So true. Such a generic line, isn't it, Kyle? Like,
oh my goodness, unbelievably.
But I loved it. I have to say, the way Victor phrased this one particularly, not the Jace thing about like, oh, the imperfections are important, but the Victor thing about like, there is no prize to perfection, only an end to pursuit. I like it. It's like lyrical or whatever. It has like the P and the P.
Oh yeah, that's
like,
okay.
I like it. Yeah.
The Jace thing almost isn't generic. It's just soy.
I mean, it's okay. I feel like if I can think of one thing that's generic, it has to be that, right? Like talking about how like the villain guy and saying like
both, but the worst part is that it's soy.
Oh yeah, sure. I can see that at least.
Is everything that's generic only bad because it's soy?
I have no idea. That's the thing for you to work out on your own, okay?
Because if it wasn't, because generic, it doesn't actually mean good or bad, but it actually just means bad, of course. That's how I always use it.
True.
So maybe I should just call things soy from EliteAri, because soy is good.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
Like that idea about the tower shooting back at them, that's soy. Yeah.
True. Okay, one more thing. I have two more notes here. When Jace and Victor are like in their glowing like golden ethereal form and they're like hugging each other or whatever, I thought the animation looked really cool. Where they're like really like in zero gravity and they're trying to like grab each other and stuff and they're like moving around. I thought that looked really cool. It was one of the coolest shots I think in this season.
I only vaguely remember this when you're saying they're in zero gravity or something. I remember Minty had a comment about there was a cool sound design moment in zero gravity with Vi and Kate and Jinx in the final battle, but I don't remember the specifics.
I don't either. I like the.
So
I think I
maybe
briefly
you're
said
correct.
this. I like the sound effects of the robots. They were pretty cool. Which do we know like what are they? Like are they just like
They're the
some?
Age of Ultron bad guys.
Yeah, it was like very
They even tilt their
like
heads.
they looked really cool and I liked it, but I was like, this is really is it like
They
a
were
League thing?
mannequins
I feel
because
like it
when you
has to be a
become a
League of Legends thing,
singularity,
right?
EliteAri, no, when you become the singularity, you all become one like that.
True. Okay.
But maybe Victor summons them in League of Legends, and you have to fight them off before you get to Victor.
I'd say that's
Victor's
very
probably,
possible.
like a support class. No, he's not. He's a attacking. Let's be honest here.
Yep. My last
He's
actual note.
obviously a top lane champion, not a mid lane champion. Perhaps he's a
You're such a
jungler.
League
Literally.
nerd. Oh my god. I don't know any about any of
Yeah.
this. But I have two notes. Last one, the actual ending, it was like pretty weak and like it ended and I'm like, oh okay, it's like over now. Like the final like few minutes or whatever.
They were just like sitting on a airship or something, and I don't know if it's V. I just saw this on Twitter. I don't know if it was V or Jinx, but one of them like always wanted to be on an airship.
That's what I was
And
just
then
about
at
to
the
say.
end,
Yeah, I also
shut
I
up,
saw that somewhere. Someone said like, "Oh,
boy.
Jinx always wanted to like fly on one," and I'm like, I don't remember that, but okay. Okay, my last actual note here, Kyle. Savika, she was in this. I don't know if there's anything
She
to say
gets to
about
go
her.
on the fucking thing. She gets to be a council member, Leary. It's great.
So true.
I think I predicted that, right? I was like, oh, she's gonna. Oh no, we thought they were gonna burn the chair, but Jinx did burn the fucking chair.
Did she? What chair?
She burnt down the whole bar, right? And the chair was specifically outlined in gasoline. But I guess maybe she didn't because she didn't blow it up, right?
Oh yeah,
Because that was
sure.
when
Because
she was
Echo
going to kill
saved
herself
her.
at the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
No, but she ran outside to save herself and then she blew it.
True. Maybe.
There was no monologues at the chair. Though, no, I think Jinx does say something about, like, it's another, like, last, like, Silco. Like, Silco was talking to her in the jail cell, that was cool.
True. And I recognize it from the shadow. I'm like, look at these distinctive character designs. We love this.
Silco was the best character besides the great Isha or whatever her name was, and the great Jinx.
I love Victor. Victor's pretty great. Anyway, anything else, Kyle? I don't know what else to say. Arcane, it's done. What a
How come she didn't have
what a
her
show.
cool arm when she was fighting, or did she? Did I just miss it?
I don't remember.
I feel like she did now that I'm saying it.
I feel like
But
almost
anyway,
certainly.
Since EliteAri cut out all of our discussion here,
Mhm.
this is probably the shortest one of all time, EliteAri.
Yep, so true. I guess
What greatness episode 7 was.
Yeah, so now let's just I guess speak more generally. What do you think of Arcane as a whole now that you've seen the whole thing?
6 out of 10, exactly the same the whole way through. And also, is season 2 better than season 1?
In my mind, yeah, it's like not even close. I think I've enjoyed season 2 far more than I've enjoyed season 1.
So, EliteAri, the real conversation here, you're like, hugging lame. The real conversation is Uwu Jinx versus cute little kid. Now, which do we choose? Part of me says, of course it's Uwu Jinx, are you stupid? But then, there is... Act 1 is just so bad, And then, Act 2, there's that bridge fight that might be good now. And, Act 3, Silco. True. But then this one, there's just stuff happening. And there were a lot of reveals. We had a lot of things to tie up and reveal in this. And besides the bastard thing, we did them all in this. So that's pretty cool. Now...
True.
I don't know, EliteAri, which season was better.
Amen. Okay, I guess
7 out of 10. No, 6 out of 10.
6?
No, 7
okay,
out of
what
10.
about this? I have to say though, there was never a moment when I was watching where I was like, man, I should like take a break here, or like, oh, I'm looking at the timeline or anything. I enjoyed like these were very.
Oh my god,
easy
I
to
watched
watch.
it all in 1 hour, EliteAri, on 7 times speed. It was great.
Yep.
But I'll never watch something as quickly as I've watched Arcane. I was just so curious.
Yep.
Curiosity killed the cat. I kind of made that
killed
point in my Heavenly Delusion. Oh, no. The rat got zapped. Now, I almost made this point in Heavenly Delusion. I do think it's true a little bit, where it ends up being like the most bingeable things are sometimes only like, they kind of come and go. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be thinking about Arcane next week. And I think about Heavenly Delusion is definitely a little bit better than Arcane. I mean, much better than Arcane in every regard. But, there's something about things that I finish quickly that I find, it's almost like, I feel like this is something, I'm a generic YouTuber, literally, this is my intro. Things that you can consume in binges, they're like entertainment junk food. You just, in one way, out the other, and, they don't sustain you like a great burger. And that great burger is Naruto, EliteAri, and we're going to do that next. But, You know, it's just so good. You know, the Vince documentary was like that too. I watched that very quickly, you know, because it was very cool and stuff. But you know, I don't know. I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
I'll report back.
I completely disagree. I like binging
You
things.
binge everything, EliteAri. You're a little pussy.
Yep, everything is great and bingeful. We love it.
Anything I watch that I like, I cannot binge it because I hate watching it.
Yep. Okay, I guess now the last thing to talk about is what do we actually think is going to be like the spin-off stuff.
Well, you know, that article kind of told me that, you know, they're broke now and they don't want to do it. But then also, everybody else is saying that obviously there's going to be more shows. Now, obviously, Mel was doing a thing and Mel didn't get too much of a resolution besides beating her mom. Like, no Jace scene whatsoever. She could have just said, "Where's Jace, V?" And V goes, "He's fucking dead!" And then she could have shed one tear or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if this ending wasn't rushed a little, that's what we would have got. Now, so it has to be Mel, right?
Is there any?
These characters
is there any chance they do a prequel with Vander and Silco? You think?
Oh yeah,
they might. I feel like that's something
would be terrible, but they might.
I mean, it could be. It could be interesting.
And the mum, and you know,
yeah.
Where are Caitlyn and Vi? I guess they're just going around the city. I was like, where are they going?
Mm-hmm.
On that airship? But no, they're just traveling around because they don't have hex skates anymore.
Yeah,
because technology's bad, EliteAri, and nature's good. You dumb fuck.
True.
I don't know. What other loose ends do we even have?
Like, well, there's like 3, right? Yeah, there's like Jinx maybe. There's Jason, Victor, and then there's Mel. I feel like those are the 3 like things that you could pursue. I feel like Jinx is done because I think Arcane is obviously Jinx's story, so I think she's like done. I don't think we're gonna see more of her.
True, except we ended on Vi being happy, so you know that means Vi was the main character and Jarky Bacon was right the whole time.
If people online are correct, then we ended on the ship flying into the distance, which is Jinx, right? So I think. Jinx
Wait, I thought Vi and Caitlyn were on the
that's thing. What I thought, but then people were saying like, "Oh my god, it's Jinx's dream to like fly on a ship," and she's like flying at the ship at the end. So I don't know. Also, I don't know. I don't remember enough.
That makes more sense because the room in which Vi is like sipping in front of it's we've seen that room before. Like,
yes,
it's the same room that Ambessa like walked in and said, "You're fucking that girl."
Yep.
So yeah, I think this makes sense. Jinx is in the thingy.
Yeah, so she's done. Mel, obviously, Mel could carry like a show, just like a magic person or whatever. You could have Mel do it.
Because if we do the Mel thing, she can come and visit Piltover in season 2, episode 5, and see the great Caitlyn and be like, "Bitch, I used to run this place. I need your help to fight this thingy," and then they can say no, and then they don't have to be in it for very long.
Yep. Okay. Well,
but also there's also all these big league characters, right? Now, I think it's been so shaped. My retroactive league knowledge is so shaped by Arcane that I'm like, obviously Jinx is like the most popular league character, but I'm sure there's other hot girls in league that are very popular. And I know there's another gay relationship that was in one of the shorts I learned about. So maybe that, so we can woke it up, EliteAri. Now Noxus, you would think I assumed because I'm a big fat racist, EliteAri, that they were all black because of Ambessa and the gang. But I've seen a bunch of Noxus characters on that map thing that I was clicking through, and a lot of white guys.
Was the big guy even black? I don't think the big guy was black. It was just some white guy.
What did I say? Did I say a big guy?
The Noxian big guy. The big guy who died?
I said Ambessa. Yeah, but did I just bring him up?
No, you just said that you thought all the Noxians were black.
Yeah.
And he was a Noxian, and he wasn't black.
Too. Or whatever. That doesn't matter.
Okay. True.
So I was like, oh, this is great for woken it up, EliteAri, but they're all white. But it's a big continent. But then we could go to the southern continent on that map I was looking at. And some of those guys look crazy. There was like a lot of desert guys. I don't know. There has to be a cute girl. Maybe they do a movie next time, EliteAri. And it's just called Jinx. Do you think it'll be Arcane subtitle, or do you think they'll just call it Noxus? Because that's a cool name too.
I think it'll entirely depend on the reception of this season. Like how much money it makes.
True.
Because if it is like if it's as successful as season 1, then I think Netflix will just let them do whatever. But I don't know if it will be. I feel like this is too complicated of an ending for it to be perceived like to be popular at the end. I feel like the generic audience will watch this and be like, well, that was a bit like confusing. Like, I don't know if I want to watch more of this. I feel like that'd be the takeaway, but maybe not.
Can't do a Jinx show because they think Jinx is fucking dead.
True. Yeah. All right.
No, I want a movie called Jinx.
True, movies would be great.
But she'll have short hair, so I'm not watching it.
Yep. Thanks everyone for watching. This is the last Arcane one. How sad. Never again will you see an upload like this. So see you, I guess, never again.
Next Tuesday.